Hello you lovely lot and welcome to my channel. I'm Katie and today we're gonna unbox and create with the February UpCrate. And let me just say, what a box. I have really enjoyed this. I took my time with it, which is why it's been out today rather than earlier in the week, but chef's kiss good. This month, the boxies have been fabulous. And there may be a beyond the box from this one. But let us delay no more and talk about what's inside. So this month's featured artist is, and I'm so sorry if I mispronounce this, is Niem Yikanani. Again, apologies. What a beautiful print and what a gorgeous theme throughout the box and the magazine. I have skimmed through quite quickly the magazine because they just keep getting bigger and bigger now, and I just don't want to fill the video up full of that, especially when the supplies have been so exciting. So let's talk about them, shall we? First thing, as you saw when I opened the box, were 3 nylon brushes, and these are Turner Colourworks Limited. We have 3 sizes. We have a small round paintbrush, a larger round paintbrush and a flat paintbrush. And I thought to begin with, because the barrels were plastic on them, the handles rather, I thought, yeah, these aren't going to be great, but no, they are, again, beautiful, very happy. We also have a mechanical pencil, and that is by Pentel. It is the Pentel Orenz, and it's 0.2 mil, and that is really fine. We also have included in this month's box a G-Tech C4 gel ink pen by Pilot. Always good for gel pens, so I'm not going to grumble at that. We have a natural sea sponge, an ink dropper, some Saunders Waterford watercolour paper, which again, I don't know if I've featured that on the channel before, but it was an amazing experience. But the thing that amazed me the most, and it's almost as if UpCrate has been reading my mind, we have acrylic gouache. And do you remember when I did my little haul at the start of the year and I was like, oh, quite curious about trying it? Well, I've got to try it and I am so happy. And also bonus, we have a good variety of primary colours, so we can actually really get a good feel for it. We have a permanent scarlet, we have a white, jet black, permanent lemon, ochre red and sky blue, and oh my goodness. The theme of this month's box is let's jump into Adelia's world, and that's been part of the theme throughout UpCrate Battle Post. Anyway, I have waffled on for a little while about these supplies and the painting has already started, so let me explain a little bit behind the thought process here. I really love the aesthetic of the featured artist this month. It's very dark and macabre, and I don't do that very often. I know I've got it in me to do that, but I kind of lean towards the more chirpier side of things. But I do quite enjoy doing sort of almost gothic-y, but that's not quite the right word. Let's just stay with macabre, because I don't know, I really enjoyed it, and I'm actually really glad this box gave me a bit of a chance to just explore that and gave me the perfect materials to do that with. I also, and I don't really go into this very often, but I did actually check out the step-by-step tutorial, which is in the Battle Post, and it just sort of went into how the artist sort of constructed everything, and I thought, yeah, you know what, I'm going to try that. So I know we're a little bit into the painting right now, but I wanted to build up the layers with this. I figured acrylic gouache, it's not going to keep coming back to life, so I can keep pouring a layer over layer over layer. I started off just by sketching this off screen, and I think I'm going to put my concept drawings on my Instagram, so be sure to check out my Instagram if you want to see the thought process as to where I got to now. But in the tutorial, it showed each layer and each process, and it started off with the sketch and then adding the background in there, which is kind of where I started off. I wanted to go for a bit of a dirty greeny yellow colour in the background, really muddy and not the best of colours one would naturally pick. but still just right for the effect. And I just wanted to make sure everything behind our character here was painted in that colour. And it was a great base to work off and lift forward all the colours there and create a sense of depth. I went over again once it had dried with a very watered down version of the black that's in there. Might have been mixed in with that dirty colour I'd made too, and that just added a bit of form to the mushrooms in the mid-ground, we'll say. Once I'd added again a very light wash of this acrylic gouache, built the colours up on the caps of the mushrooms, or the toadstools rather, it was time to just keep building what was going on in the background there. So I added some additional mushroom figures in the back there, and I thought once I was happy with that, it was time to start working on the foreground, and eventually everything balances out, but we'll get into that a little bit more. What I can tell you though is these paints actually really surprised me. Again, they're acrylic gouache. It is a hybrid of acrylic and gouache paint, and I love gouache, but I'm not a huge fan of acrylic, which is why I've always been hesitant about purchasing them and trying them myself. But I was super impressed. Unlike acrylics, when you water them down, it didn't seem to lose any of that vibrancy or flow. It didn't sort of half dry as it was sort of in a puddle, which has been my experience when I've tried to use acrylics like watercolours before. On the other hand, like using gouache, and especially when you water it down a little bit, which is not what I tend to do because of it coming back to life, but I thought I'd try that. And the pigments really travelled well, and they were so vibrant, it just didn't lose any of its luminosity, and the wonderful thing is it dried flat. Again, unlike using acrylics when you've watered it down, you didn't have any of these slightly shiny areas or slightly matte areas. It was just flat, and it was wonderful. It really was. That pencil was so fine. I clicked it and I had to double check to see the lead was coming through. Really impressed with it. Very comfortable to hold and very impressed. The paintbrushes, again at the start I was like, these feel quite cheap plasticky handles, but actually the brushes were brilliant. They held a really nice amount of water, they had a nice snap to them, there was a consistent flow. Super impressed with them, I was so surprised. The paper, wow, for some reason whatever it is about that paper just caused the pigments to move. Again, I didn't really know what to expect, and because I use gouache neatly and thickly, I wasn't really sure how it would interact by watering it down, but it was amazing. Honestly, I've loved this box so much. Even the gel pen was great. The only thing that I didn't use was the sponge, because I just didn't want that permanent paint getting in there and permanently altering it. I will use it for watercolour projects, but not for the acrylic gouache. I just don't want to destroy it. It would just seem so nice. The dropper tool did come in very useful, however. Anyway, that's enough of me gushing. Let's carry on with what's going on here. So I painted in the character's dress, and I used the paint a little bit more thicker there, as well as her skin tone, and I did apply it a little thicker on the toadstool that she's sitting on. I actually thought this would be quite a nice theme. Again, because we've got these dirty, rotten colours in the background, I thought mushrooms would be a great subject matter. And I just thought maybe we have a little character with one sprouting off the top of her hand, as well as some sprouting out the top of her head. And her not being distressed about it, her being quite cheeky and, well, you know, there's a mushroom growing on my hand kind of vibe. I wanted to keep the dress code kind of similar to how the featured artist sort of dresses their characters too. And I must admit I do need to practice my ruffles a little bit more, but I am quite pleased with the little capelet she's wearing. I love the fact I went for this deep bottle green colour as well. I think that contrasts really nicely against those mushrooms. I started adding some of the speckles on the mushrooms once they had fully dried, because that paper does make stuff move, and I used the same green colour that I did for the little sprouting mushrooms off the character there, and it just adds a little bit of a touch there. I didn't want to go overboard with it. To add the grass, I just continued using the black, just watered down and adding it in. I just didn't see the point in using green, considering it's such a dark colour. It's not always the right thing to do, it's just go straight in there, the colour you expect. I added a lot more detail in with that pen, and that surprised me actually how well that worked. It was perfect for doing the eyelashes with, as recommended, as well as giving everything a good outline and just making it pop a little bit more from the background. The white acrylic gouache was perfect for just adding those highlights in and maybe just correcting one or two areas where I might have either forgotten to draw something in or just needed a bit extra oomph. But this box was amazing. This is what I've wanted for a long time from UpCrate, and I'm so happy with it. I must admit though, the reason why it took me so long is work's been kind of busy, but I tend to struggle drawing on A5. Well, not drawing so much, but painting. I find it quite hard to get lots of those details in there that I want to get in there. It's not so bad with a drawing project or when it's got marker pens, but when I'm painting, I do find it a little bit harder. So that's why I kind of took my time with this, but I really enjoyed everything about doing this painting, and I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, please leave me a comment down below, because I really did put a lot of love and effort into this. I really wanted to showcase this month's box. And of course, if you kind of like this style, I might go there again. But yes, please do let me know what you think down below. If you've enjoyed this video though, there should be some more on screen right now that I think you're going to enjoy too. If you're new here and you've made it this far, please consider subscribing, it really helps me out. And of course, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!